Godzilla, King of the Monsters was directed by Michael Dougherty. It stars Ken Watanabe, Millie Bobby Brown, Kyle Chandler, and Vera Farmiga in this action-packed monster phenomena. And basically the plot is this thing is releasing all these massive titans all over the world, setting them free and having them establish their dominance upon the world and causing all this chaos, and basically Godzilla and humans have to stop them. And that's a pretty straightforward plot. So I had the pleasure of seeing this movie yesterday, and I want to touch on something before I get into this full review. I've grown up with Godzilla my entire life. He has been a very big deal to me. This movie was a big deal to me because I've grown up with him. I love him. My three favorite Godzilla movies growing up was always Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla Final Wars, which I no longer have a copy to, but I will eventually. So I've always loved this character. I've watched all the movies. I know all about him. And so I wanted to see him be a bit more improved in this movie. Don't get me wrong, I loved Godzilla 2014. I thought it was good. But it had some issues. I felt like the main characters were bland. The best character in the whole movie is killed off early, and we're left with these super bland characters that I didn't really care for. And we didn't see enough Godzilla. And so I feel like they fixed all that in this movie, and let me get into that. So this movie does what I wanted it to. The other problem I had with Godzilla 2014 was I felt like it took itself way too seriously. I felt like it was trying too hard to make Godzilla real. But you can't make Godzilla real. Something that big could never really exist in the real world. Something like that destructive force could never really exist. And so that movie embraces that, and it accepts what it is that it's a kaiju movie. And this feels like a Japanese-made kaiju movie. And I loved it. So, the question you guys are probably asking is there more Godzilla in this movie? And the answer is yes, there is a lot more Godzilla in this movie. You can also see the action scenes. That's the other problem that we had with the last Godzilla movie, was you couldn't see the action scenes. They would always cut away, that or it's in a dark environment and you can barely see anything of what's going on. And I understand what the director Gareth Edwards was going for in that movie in regards to a more mysterious Godzilla movie, but people don't pay their money for that. They pay it to see Godzilla and to see him fight. And we received a lot of that. The action scenes in this movie is incredible. Godzilla's battle scenes with Ghidorah and other kaijus are amazing. But the best action scenes, in my opinion, go to Rodan and his fight in Mexico. That was an amazing battle, and I loved it. This movie also feels like a Japanese-made Godzilla movie in regards to the pacing as well. It's paced like a gunshot. It moves extremely fast. It's one of those movies that doesn't feel like it's 2 hours, but it is 2 hours. And it moves so quickly, but at times I feel like that was a problem because there is one scene where I felt like it moved way too quickly. I'm like, wait, hold on. Wait, slow down a bit. But I loved how fastly paced it was. It felt like some of the original Japanese Godzilla movies. Some of them were fastly paced. Some of them not so much, but some of them were. Also in interviews, Michael Dougherty said in regards to the King Ghidorah creature in this movie, he said he wanted to make him the best version of King Ghidorah that we've seen. And so the question is, does he succeed in doing that? And the answer is yes. He succeeds in making the best King Ghidorah. This isn't really a spoiler, but he said in interviews also that each head would have its own personality, and this movie really reflects that a lot, and I really like that. And I feel like the visual effects were able to take this creature to the next level and do more with him that we couldn't do with the older Godzilla movies with the guy in the suit. And I felt like they were able to do more with him, and I loved it. The way they did Ghidorah in this movie is amazing. This movie also redefines the mythos of the kaiju, and I really like that a lot. It redefines the mythos of Godzilla, redefines the mythos of Mothra and Rodan. King Ghidorah's mythos is pretty much the same, but those kaijus are changed slightly, and I really like that. It takes them in a slightly different direction, and that's what you need to keep Godzilla movies fresh. And also, I gotta say, the characters in this movie I felt were a little bit better. They weren't great, but they had like all these cheesy dialogue. They were very over-the-top characters, but that's what they were going for. Like I said, this feels like a Japanese-made Godzilla movie, and back in the older movies, the characters were very cheesy. And that's what they were going for in this movie, and some people will have a problem with that. I understand. I had a problem with some dialogue in this movie, and there were two characters in particular I didn't really like. One of them being one of the operatives of Monarch, and one of them being the mother of Millie Bobby Brown's character. Her motivations didn't really make a lot of sense. But what they were going for, I understood, and I went with it, and I enjoyed it. Now, obviously, this movie is not meant for everyone. This movie, a lot of people are not going to accept. Because, like I said, it feels like an older Japanese Godzilla movie. And those movies wouldn't really work in our modern age as much. But if you really look at it as it is, a movie made by a true Godzilla fan, then you'll really enjoy it. And I'll also say, if you're a fan of the Pacific Rim movies, then you're also going to enjoy this movie. But however, like I said, this movie is not for everyone. And in conclusion, this was a fun ride all the way through. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. This kept me on the edge of my seat from the start. Very fast-paced, very beautiful visual effects. The kaiju battles were amazing. But if you were expecting Shakespeare work in this movie, then I'm sorry, you're going to be greatly disappointed. And why did you go to a monster movie expecting that? Anyways, Godzilla King of the Monsters is easily a great film. Now, I may also do a spoiler review for this movie. There's some things I want to get into that I can't get into in this non-spoiler review, but I will for sure be doing a top 10 Godzilla movie video. So, you guys are the best. If you guys like the video, make sure to subscribe today to join the Isaiahization.